Welcome to Gen XYZen, a show dedicated to dishing on digital culture from a boomer perspective. There is still juice in this lemon.
And today's main squeeze segment, what about your friends? Connections in the time of COVID. But before that, make sure you take a second to hit the subscribe button. It helps get our show in front of the eyes of a new audience. So Beth, juice is up.
I am juicing some tea and Steve Buscemi.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yes.
I wasn't ready for Steve Buscemi. I was just ready for the juice.
There's juice in Steve Buscemi,
There's
literally.
essence of Steve Buscemi. I'm juicing the toxic positivity I'm seeing on my IG timeline. Molly, the calls are coming from inside the house. You in danger, girl. So cheers.
Cheers to that. Yeah, so hey, friends, we have a special announcement at the end of the show, so stay tuned and we'll serve it on up. All right, let's get this show started.
Yeah.
Welcome to the relaunch of GenXYZen.
Yes, we have touchdown. Hey Beth, inquiring minds want to know, how did we meet? What's our story? You give your version and then I'll go ahead and I'll give mine.
Okay, I'm kind of nervous about your version. But my version is that I met you through my friend Mandy, who actually I grew up with, and then we were roommates in college, and you were part of like her crazy band friends. And if you did not know, at the Ohio State, it's called To Biddle, the best damn band in the land.
That's
and
right.
yeah,
Woody
like,
Hayes.
woohoo, yeah, yeah. And I was not prepared for like how crazy the band people would be. Like I just remember people like walking around with like what they called the wine udders walking around campus. Do you remember this?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, like they would just take out the box wine, they take out, they call it the Astor Otter. It was the Astor Otter. And then we hung out for years in Columbus afterwards.
Interesting version. You gave like the general. I'm going to give the very specific version, I think.
Oh no.
Because the first night I met you was the night you were filming your audition video for The Real World.
Oh, I forgot about that.
So Beth had done like an on-campus interview audition for The Real World and had made it to like the next round. And so they'd given you homework. You had to submit a video, right?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
So when I showed up, it was like a production mode. Like, okay, we got to do a video. Everybody was like looking their hottest because we were going to go to a club and shoot some stuff at a club. I think I danced on the floor in your apartment. I think I did like a quasi breakdance moment. I feel like that happened.
Maybe.
And then we went to, remember that club that was a bank on Olentangy? Like,
Yes, I have. I have stories from that place.
Oh, this girl's cool. She's gonna be on The Real World, and then cut to not being on The Real World, but that's okay.
Wow, now like I never really judged my life on not making it on The Real World, but now like
automatic minus 20 points. She didn't make it on The Real World.
I did make it on The Real World. I mean, I feel like my life is probably better that I was not on The Real World. But
Absolutely.
yeah, for some reason, my coworker was house sitting at a porn house. Like Larry Flint used to live in Columbus, and so like for some reason they were like house sitting, or like this would be great for the Real World content for us to like.
And there were mirrors everywhere,
like,
right?
Oh yeah, in the bathroom. Like, why do you need mirrors like around you? It's just a toilet. It's not like nobody needs that many mirrors and on the ceiling. I mean, I guess it was the 70s, so
yeah, it goes without saying that things do change over time, which brings us to our first new segment, Gen Now and Then.
In this segment, we talk about things that we're into now that remind us of things we were into back then. So Ricky, what Gen Now and Then do you have this week?
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. That's my now. That's happening. And, you know, it's one of those things where I was kind of good with their dynamic. You know, they left the royal family in an official capacity. They're in the States. They're raising Archie. Peace be with you. Can't wait to see what you do. But now the drama is on, because when you call Oprah, you've got some things to say. Basically, I think Meghan's like, no, not You're not gonna do me. I'm here to tell my story. So yeah, no subject off limits. Also, can we talk about Oprah Potter here? These
She
glasses.
does the glasses and the like.
This
It is like a
blowout.
Hermione. Yeah, like it's
Yes. Like
wow.
there's
You are so
movement
correct.
in the hair. I can see the
It's
wind,
like
the fan.
fire.
I also love the dramatic music. Is like no boom 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 boom.
This bracelet that she's wearing, it's a Cartier, the one that's blinging. It's a Cartier bracelet that belonged to Princess Di. So she's giving a little shout out to Princess Di because obviously, you know, she is feeling her pain now. I can imagine, you know.
My biggest concern was history repeating itself.
And there it is. Like, that's what we're all thinking, right? His mom went through it. He's kind of saw the writing on the wall and he's like, let's get out. And that's what I always thought when they made that announcement, right?
Yeah, just getting out before things are too late.
Wait, hold up, wait a minute.
I love when Oprah does that. That's like her go-to. She knows the trailer. She knows in her mind they're going to be editing the trailer. So she loves a good, like, hold on, wait a minute. What did you just say? You know, she does that for the trailer. She does that for the tease.
Gosh, you know what? We need to create a trailer like this. We need to get some dramatic music and like we can like do some like different cuts. Oh, you did not.
We don't need a clickbait title. We just need clickbait music in the background. That's happening now. And of course, it makes you think of Princess Di. Meghan obviously will be okay. It's this one quote I'm going to play from Princess Di that I think is the biggest difference between her and Meghan.
There's no better way to dismantle a personality than to isolate it.
Boom. And the thing is, she was isolated, Princess Di, but the difference is Meghan is now a Hollywood elite. She's she's friends with Oprah. She is connected to Hollywood and the power of Hollywood. I don't think she's ever going to be in that position of being isolated and not having anybody to go to bat for her. So yeah, I think she has the support system to survive anything that they can throw, and she has also the support of Prince Harry. Let's not forget that. You know, he's not out there philandering with like Camilla 2.0. Like he's completely like supportive of her. So I don't think we'll see the similar fate, but it is interesting.
I mean, but Princess Diana, she was so young when she got married, and she was like, she was isolated from her husband from like the rest of her family, and it's also the time of social media. So it's like back then, when Princess Diana was around, like it was easy for say the royal household to like shut that down when it came to media. But now, like Meghan and like Harry, they can go directly to social media and speak their minds there, along with the rest of us. So, I mean, it's not, I mean, the way that media has changed, you don't have that kind of lockdown where it's one person telling the story and like a newspaper going to shut down the entire story.
So, Beth, yeah, what about your now and then?
I remember somebody said their psychologist called it this, is that like those little stupid games you play on your phone, it's kind of like digital Xanax. It's like, I don't have, it's not alcohol. It's not like, instead you just have these like mindless little things that are taking you away from your anxiety. And I find myself slipping into like the stupidest games. Like right now, like I'm in the Klondike, like I don't know, like cutting down rocks and like raising corn. I don't know. I'm always like in the outdoors in my games. I'm raising dragons.
You know what? I get addicted to a game and then I have to like just delete it because I'm like, this is taking over too much of my life. Do you remember this game from like back on the day? The snake game? It was on the Nokia game. Do you remember this thing?
I don't think I played this. When did this come out?
You don't remember this game? Okay, it was this phone.
Oh my
it was
God,
like
I
this
had
like
that
blue
phone.
one.
That
Right?
was my first phone ever. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, like I guess this game came out like in 1997. So like, and this game was built onto this like for those first Nokia phones, and like this was the coolest game, and I really suck at it, obviously.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Did you do the Minesweeper instead, or the like?
Oh, we switched faces.
Yeah. Oh wait, there we go. and it gets longer and longer, and then like you can't hit yourself because by the end you become like a monster creature.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
anyway.
I mean, I appreciate the sort of like
Yeah.
beta basicsness of it, but I never played, but I was never a video game person, so I wouldn't have been like checking for this kind of game.
Yeah, no, like I think there's like a whole generation of people that remember this stupid game because it was also like the coolest thing at the time. Because I had like a little video game in my pocket. Okay, we're done with that. I died.
Oh, you were actually playing it in real time just now?
Oh yeah, no,
Oh.
yeah, I was actually playing.
I thought it was just some
Like-
stock footage of like,
No, that was me really sucking at it.
Oh my
We'll share that
gosh.
link if you want to play Snake.
that's
We'll have to share that in
funny.
the comments below so you too can experience. Actually, how good are you, Ricky? Here, wait, can I share this with you? Let's see how good you do.
Oh gosh.
Okay, let's see.
So is
Okay, let's
Python
see.
the hardest?
Yeah, Python's the hardest.
go
Start with
middle.
slug.
So what do I have
Okay.
to do?
Just move the little arrow. You're trying to eat that little. You already died. You're trying to eat that little dot.
Do I use my mouse?
Use your arrow keys.
Oh, okay, let's try again.
Yeah, refresh that. Like you've already died. You haven't even started.
Maybe I need to start with, I'm gonna still stay with worm.
Okay, let's
Oh,
see.
wait. Oh, but why did it? I fail.
No. You have to try to at least eat the.
Okay, let me try.
Try
I'll
slug
try
and see if you
I'll try slug.
Yeah. do slug. Just try to eat the little piece of food. You have to go
Oh, I
towards it.
see.
Okay, then down. Yay! You ate it. Look, you grew it. You grew a whole extra
Oh.
segment.
I don't have the like. A very physical reaction.
Okay, well, that also is not your thing. Wait, I'm feeling a little parched. I think it's time for our next segment. Juice time.
Juice time.
Juice time. Juice
You have to
time.
say it like that. In this segment, we'll share some juicy stories from our lives. It might be sweet or it may be sour, but either way, it went down. So Beth, what do you have for juice time?
All right, so we're telling favorite stories about each other. And I think my favorite story about you was visiting you when you were in London. Oh my
London,
goodness
is
gracious.
it? Is it?
In London, yes. London, yes. Oh my goodness, I remember like waiting for you at the airport and you were like running kind of late and then you showed up with your roommate who had the crazy haircut at the time. Like he had just been like in like an art, like some kind of hairstylist show.
Oh my
So he
god,
had like
yes.
crazy. Yeah, you picked me up in his car and then like we're like driving like really fast. Did he have to do a run too? I don't remember. But yeah, like we were like zipping through London and I was just not prepared. And then the next day, you weren't around. So then you sent me off to go hang out with like some more of your flatmates. And then we ended up at a park in where was it? Just somewhere in London. And so for some reason it was a topless swimming hole in the middle of London. And I'm like, why? Like, and it was really just a muddy hole in the ground. And I was very confused why I was surrounded by topless women in the middle of this park.
I don't remember
Oh my
that
God.
at all. Oh my god.
I am sure. I am sure I told you about this afterwards because I was not prepared. Like if I was in France, I'd been like, okay, but I was like, I thought the British were more uptight than we were. I don't know. And then we had Sunday roast and it's vegetarian, so then I ate like a nut roast. But like this was like the entire trip. There was like weirdness after weirdness. And I remember one time, like, you were running really late. I just remember, like, sitting on your doorstep with, like, a 40 of, like, Stella.
No, that's not what happened. I came home and there was a note tacked to the door of the house with bubble gum. And it said something like locked out at the pub across the street or something.
Yeah, well, it's because I was sitting there with like my Stella, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, okay, I guess I'm gonna go over there. And all I had was scum
Oh my
to
gosh.
stick it.
And that pub was locals only. So for people who know London, that would have been, I was living in Charlton Village, basically the birthplace of the chav. And so that pub was like a Charlton Athletic, their football club. It was like a bar that would show their matches, and it was, most of the time it was locals only. So you probably got some looks when you walked in there.
I mean, I don't really remember that. I was just like I was just so tired, I think. When we were at the bar, and I just remember the dentist. And we were talking about the movie. We had just seen the movie like Whale Rider, and I was like, "Oh, you're from New Zealand. Is it like Whale Rider?" And he was like, "What movie do you think encapsulates America?" And I remember saying, "Mean Girls."
Boo, you whore.
Anyway, I had a good time. It was great visiting you. What's your story? I'm
I was
scared.
thinking, no, mine is not a little bit more innocuous. I was just gonna tell the story of your apartment on Goodell Park, and how that was just like,
yeah.
that was the epicenter
That was
of
great, yeah.
everything. Because so for those who are not from Columbus, Goodell Park is a park that's in the Short North. The Short North is the trendy, artsy bar place, and then all the festivals happen at Goodell Park. So Comfest and Gay Pride and a bunch of other things. And so Beth's apartment was right on the periphery of the park. You literally walk out the front door and you're at the park. Oh, also from her rooftop, she had access to the rooftop. We could see Red, White, and Boom, which was like July 4th, like the big fireworks display. Yeah. So summers were spent at Beth's, basically, essentially. So I just remember always being there, passing out there. I feel like that was a summer of like, I don't know, I feel like my hips are moving.
Yes, I remember that.
I feel a little more loose in my hips.
Reading the signs of my body. What are happening to my hips? They're like doing these things. That was also around the time we were talking about ice cream, and you're like, I don't want anything, like I don't need no Chucky Monkey. I just need to be plain vanilla when it comes to like...
Oh, we were talking about sex and relating it to ice cream. I said I need vanilla, not Rocky Road. It was Rocky Road.
No. It was Chunky Monkey.
Was it Chunky Monkey?
It was definitely Chunky Monkey. Because
you know what's
just
actually
coming out, you're figuring it out.
Yeah, I was gonna tell myself, but I'm gonna leave that for another podcast.
Did you get some Chunky Monkey?
No. No, I took this quiz, and I'll just say that vanilla actually was literally involved in the results in some capacity. Okay. And I'll leave the rest to the imagination. We'll save that.
We'll save that. So we'll come up with more juice time later on. So, and feel free to share some of your juice as well.
Yeah, that was juice time. Yeah. Make sure y'all, I don't know why I have this. Make sure y'all come back, you hear? Next up, we get to the heart of today's episode, the main squeeze. Beth, what's with all this juice talk?
Well, we here at GenXYZen feel juice has a recurring presence in our lives. From juice boxes after T-ball, the lemonade stand game on the Apple IIe, grape juice at communion, to Harry Buffalo at college, Zoom drinks, and of course mimosas at brunch. They are all reminders of what connects us. We are GenXYZen, virtual real.
All right, let's main squeeze it.
The main squeeze is where we provide commentary on a theme that connects us. Today's theme is friends and other connections in the time of COVID.
We've kind of started having this discussion already, and then we were like, wait, pause, let's save it for the show.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I did a little research, and I came across an article that actually hit this perfectly. And actually, there's been quite a series of articles addressing this idea of staying connected to friends, family, colleagues during the COVID. My biggest question has been sort of what's my responsibility to my friends versus my colleagues, versus family, like how do you maintain all of these connections when your day-to-day doesn't allow for those to naturally happen, especially with friends from work or, me being on tour. Those are work friends, but at some point they kind of become a dysfunctional family / friend as well. So when you're taken out of that environment, you're kind of left thinking, okay, should I call? Should I message? Or I did message, but they didn't message back.
Yeah.
But we're all in quarantine and dealing with stuff, so maybe they just need time. And yeah, so we're gonna go through this with some statistics that
Yeah.
from this one article in particular. The first number I'm gonna give you is 150, and that's the number of stable social relationships the average human brain can maintain. What do we think about that? Is that a lot? Is that a little?
That's a lot. I
A lot,
mean,
right?
I think it's a lot. But it's also, I think some of those are some of what now we're calling like loose connections. So like say you're like walking down the street, there's like 11 people you say hi to, or you like walk through your office and you say hi to people like on the way to the kitchen. All the different performers that you worked with. I mean, you weren't having like big conversations, but you still had those light connections and your friends from before. So I mean, I think that 150 is all of those kind of different types from your family to your friends to like the people around you.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess for the average person that's sort of like from their hometown and yeah, maybe they travel and go on vacations, but like their main exposure is their one sort of community, that seems, yeah, that seems pretty average and doable. I feel like might have more than that though, and that probably is part of the problem that I'm having to deal with.
Yeah, because I've seen different various research that we kind of replicate that number. It is kind of based on like a small community, how many people you can know, but that ends up kind of being where people engage the most on social. Like there was a lot of research kind of done that we kind of still have that same net kind of people virtually.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I mean, actually, and if we go off of social media like Facebook, and this is not any kind of brag or anything, but I think I literally have 1,000 people maybe on my Facebook. And the thing is, I don't, for the most part, I don't accept just anybody. So like we will have come across each other in like some capacity at some point in life. So that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is. And then you think about all the different social networks you have, because I have like my LinkedIn, which is my professional, and then I have my Facebook. And you have like all these different kind of communities. But it's also like those aren't people that you're necessarily engaging with, like because you only see like there's like 5 people that comment all the time on Facebook, and like that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like if it wasn't for Facebook, we wouldn't even, before Facebook, they would have just been phased out of our life. But I feel like there's this weird, like sort of the last string of a connection there because you see the last post they post or they comment on something that you posted. And so then you feel like, oh, we still have this virtual connection, but what's my obligation? I mean, I think we all understand that there is no obligation as far as maintaining a dialogue or starting a dialogue, especially, like someone from high school who you haven't spoken to since then. They might like a photo, but you kind of leave it at that, right? Like social norms is that you don't then pursue that.
Yeah, because I think it'd be too much if you do that with everybody on your social networks. And I actually, there's another article I saw that was saying something similar about like, because that's how we normally are online when we're interacting with people, like you don't comment, but we're also not going out and walking down the street or going to the office. So we don't have those like kind of weak links, those weak kind of conversations. So we're kind of missing out on that. Like you just have the people you are really close as friends with or your family. And we're kind of missing those kind of more casual conversations that are out there.
Yeah.
So, and we have we'll have some tips at the end about how to reconnect with some of those people.
Yes.
I did not tell you that, but I did find some.
Newsflash. Okay, the next number, it's 3 hours per day. The average amount of time people typically devote to social exchanges. I guess we have to define what a social exchange is. And I guess that would be in a pre-COVID. Well, this was written during the time of COVID, so.
I mean, that seems kind of light. I mean, doesn't it? Because I guess it matters what you do.
I mean, if social exchange means scrolling through Twitter and Instagram and seeing what people are up to, then I definitely clock more than 3 hours.
Right. I also know people like if you're in meetings all day, like your entire day is a social exchange. Like
Yeah.
if you're interacting with people, like or if you have kids or family, like you have like a child, like there's so many different things. How is it just 3 hours? I feel that feels light.
It
3 hours
light.
feels light.
Yeah.
Unless you're a monk.
Yeah. One other interesting correlation, they found that your own personal mood correlates to your friend group moods. So happy friends equal happy self, and then unfortunately the
Yeah.
opposite, depressed friends equals depressed self. But you're actually 6 times more likely to be depressed if you're interacting socially with a depressed friend. Which, in the time of this Panasonic panorama, um, that could be a thing that
You're
happens.
trying really hard not to say the word pandemic. Is this like it's
Yeah, we
like
don't.
Voldemort? You can't say it.
It's a thing people are doing, so I'm embracing it. I thought the joke spoke for itself. Now that I had to explain it, it's kind of lame. So yeah, during the Panasonic, there's a lot of depressed people. So how do you manage, or how have you managed maybe interacting with potential depressed friends or colleagues? Has that been a challenge, and how did you kind of get past that?
I feel like that has been because there's twofold. Is one, I feel like sometimes you can't be real about your emotions with certain people because you know that you're going to bring them down. So you're kind of hiding. But that also means that you're not really sharing something that's real to you. But at the same time, you know that people are like kind of depressed around you, especially at the beginning. I mean,
Yeah,
and big emotions, but it was also like you're struggling to get through it too. So I feel like that was one of the places that it felt the hardest in that kind of struggle. How do you keep like your family and your friends? How do you keep their mood up while also not burdening them?
yeah, it could be a big responsibility, especially if you're the type of person to take that, just assume that that is your responsibility. So yeah, not being able to have those boundaries. I think for me, luckily I had access to therapy this whole time. So I definitely saved that kind of talk for those sessions. I had a couple of close friends who, we do the voice note thing and we're able to sort of just talk things out um, through that sort of method. And with the voice note, there's a bit of space in itself. There's a boundary there because it's not like the person's on the line immediately. You can send a voice note and then let it breathe. Take your time to respond, or choose to respond back with a text. There's sort of like nonverbals, like when it comes to voice notes, and so it's like once the person starts to text back instead of voice noting back, it's like, okay, it's time to sort of like wrap this up in a way. um, so yeah, I've definitely relied on that.
Yeah, I mean that's actually one of the tips that I've read in one of the articles that we'll share from the Harvard Business Review. Actually, one of the tips is that kind of asynchronous kind of communication. Like a phone call can be kind of rude, and an email is a little too impersonal, but like something like a messenger or Facebook where people can get back to you in their own time.
Yeah,
Because it's also people just don't necessarily have that space at that moment to talk about it. Because I think that's also when a lot of people are struggling with a lot and you can't physically be there, you don't really have the space to talk about it either. Like, I can get there when I can mentally get there.
yeah. Let's go over one more, the last number here, and then we can go into some of the tips that you have. Five is the number of close friends that's optimal for minimizing your risk of depression. Anything less or more than five, your depression risk increases. Particularly with more than five, you start to have what's called a thinly spread social effort, and thus that leads to less strong friendships. So it's literally sort of like spreading yourself thin. So how can you develop sort of those deeper bonds that make people part of your inner close circle when you've got 30 other people that you're trying to make keep that same dynamic with? And that's the number, like that stat is what kind of stuck the most with me, because if I thought about it, it's like I do have that super close. I'd say more 5 to 8 maybe, that are my immediate go tos, and for me, it's learning how to be okay with that and not feeling bad that I can't give that same effort to other people who are I consider close colleagues. And again, like that dysfunctional family, that like when we're working together and we're in the same tent, every day. It's like I saw those people every day of my life for 1, 2, the 3, 4 years, and in different capacities. So yeah, it's good to have that stat because that helps, especially me, like the science sort of evidence based sort of nerd in me will cling on to that kind of data to be like, okay, I really am only able to effectively have 5 super close relationships, so I don't feel as bad that the other ones don't get that much attention.
Yeah, because I like what you're saying is that you feel like a lot of guilt sometimes because you're spread so thin. I mean, can you give your friends that kind of support, but you can't be that close to everyone.
Yeah, and I literally that's the only thing. This is getting super personal, but I guess that's why we're here. But in all of this whole time in lockdown, and the only trigger that I've had to bring me to tears has been this idea of like talking about friends and friends that have diminished, or I feel that have kind of there's been a closure to that dynamic. And even before this lockdown, I was already dealing with realizing that people who I thought were close friends, maybe I had it skewed the wrong way, and um, like was that something I needed to address? Like, was I creating bonds that weren't there? Was I misreading, the room, or were they just not, maybe they were spread thin as well. We all come from the same kind of background where we're exposed to lots of different people and personalities. It's hard to maintain those relationships. So yeah, I was kind of juggling with that before, and the Panasonic helped sort of like reinforce that, because I heard from the people that I expected to hear from, and that's that was important to experience.
Because I mean, there's other people that you've reached out to and they didn't get back, and you're like, is this friendship? Some experts are saying that like some of those looser friendships will reset afterwards, but I don't know about all of those. I kind of feel like this was definitely kind of a break for some certain types of friendships because people are moving, they have new jobs. I mean, I think some of that's just changing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be militant about this rule. And, apologies if I failed this test as well. I know I probably have failed this test for some people that were in my life, but it's like, if I didn't hear from you during COVID, like, deuces. Like, if you didn't think to, I know we were all managing stuff and we were all depressed and didn't know what was next. But if it didn't, like, if you didn't think to even be like, hey, what's up? Then maybe that answers the question.
I mean, because I feel like it's such like an emergency situation that like it's like, are you alive?
Yeah.
If you don't care about me enough to be like, "Yeah, I'm cool," and then you're like, "Okay." Like, that's all.
Yeah, that's
Like,
all it would take. And I'm sure somebody is probably shocked, or like, damn, Ricky didn't even reach out, and apologies if that's you. But the phone goes both ways.
that's yeah. That's the thing too, is because, like, other people are also kinda struggling with how to, like, reach out because usually you'd see them, like, out and about, like, maybe you
Yeah.
see them, like, when you're traveling or you'd see them, like, like, at a bar, happy hour, a networking event, something. You see them at you see them at church. It could be any type of situation where none of that is happening now.
Yeah. Or something happened pre this lockdown situation, and so we went into lockdown not exactly clear. Um, oh God, I'll give an example. I wasn't. So I have a friend. Oh my, I'm realizing this is gonna go out, so like maybe I'll just make up a thing. I had a friend. This isn't what happened, but this gives you an example of the type of thing that would have happened. I had a friend, and they didn't invite me to their birthday party, but we were in the same city, and it's like, oh, I thought we were friends. I would have been invited to your birthday party, huh? Maybe we're not. And Corona, like, so we didn't get to hash that out. And so I went into Corona thinking, well, that person doesn't see it for me anymore, obviously, because I didn't get invited to their birthday party. So I guess I'm not going to reach out, because that seems a little bit desperate as well. And that's not me, ego aside. But listen, if somebody wants to be your friend, they'll let you know. So yeah, I think that's another part of like why connections also went in a little bit. If you went into Corona with a relationship that was a little bit on the rocks, or you didn't know where you stood, it definitely still is on that same shaky ground now, because now wasn't the time to like patch that up. People had other priorities.
I mean, I think they've also just like it's extended out so much now that it's like if it was rocky, it's just gonna get more rocky. You just don't care anymore.
Oh yeah, because now you're really in your feelings. Like you're already depressed because of the situation pre-COVID, and now we're in COVID, and you have other factors that have you angry, depressed, on edge. So it's like say the wrong thing, and then it's it could be deuces. The end of that.
There's one more number from this that I want to bring up because I think this has also kind of been a barrier. 4 is the maximum number of people to have a cohesive discussion,
Oh yeah,
and that's been a problem because of the way that everyone was communicating at the very beginning was like Zoom happy hours, like if you could have like you'd have your group of friends, but it was like 20 people speaking. Like now there are some better tools that we can use where you can like isolate and it can be one on one. But
oh
at the
yeah.
beginning, everything was like 20 people.
Yeah, especially like family stuff. Like my family, my mom has like 10 brothers and sisters. I got all these cousins and stuff, extended family. We tried to do a Zoom. Oh my God, it was a mess. And now that I'm taking classes online, I don't know if Zoom has this feature, but we need to use it. So, like, when there's a big lecture and then she's like, okay, I want you guys to get into smaller groups to discuss it. So she breaks us up into groups of 3. And then the system automatically just randomly puts us up in groups of 3. And I'm like, that would be brilliant to have on Zoom, especially with family things, because then you can sort of like reconnect with different families and catch up. It's not just one big room shouting, especially Puerto Rican. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Joy to the people everywhere we sing. Joy to you and me. Yo, Tati. Cuando te le quita la llave, lo pone, lo presa. Oh my God, what? Boys and girls.
You're like, you can't hear anything. There's too many people.
Oh my God, it's impossible. Okay, well, yeah, that was the main squeeze. Or do we have more? I feel like.
Oh, we had some quick tips because we want to end our show on things you can take from this and move forward in your life. Have you played Gather yet?
No. If it's a game, I haven't played it.
Oh, I think you could figure out this one, hopefully.
I got really excited with Among Us. I want to play Let's start an Among Us lobby. Have you seen Among Us?
Yes, I've seen him. Yeah, I thought we were going to do that with Mandy, who we met through.
Yeah, that was my idea, and then I didn't follow through on it. Well, honestly, because I got like 4 people, and then I couldn't think of anyone else. If you want to join an Among Us lobby with me and Beth and our friend Mandy, then drop a comment, maybe an email,
and we can murder, and then we can murder you in space. Yay!
But the other thing is, if I played it, I want to play it like with the what's it called, Discord, so that we could talk and actually discuss it during the breaks after someone dies, as opposed to just typing on the phone. So
yeah, that would be good.
That might take some.
Well, now we have an assignment. We should do that in between shows, and then report back on the juice time.
We'll look into
these
it.
boomers. Our boomers getting some of our Gather juice.
Okay, so you've got some practical, useful tips to stay connected in the time of pentatonics.
Yes, and this is primarily, with your looser connections, your weak links. So one, use informal modes of communication. So once again, that's you don't necessarily want to do email too formal. You don't want to do phone calls. That's way abrasive, like text, messenger, something asynchronous, WhatsApp. Also, don't expect a reply, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Don't expect period, or don't expect an immediate reply.
Just don't expect a reply necessarily, because some people aren't going to respond to you. So that's fine. You're just saying hi.
I'm still waiting on a reply from someone you know who you are.
But then sometimes I will respond to somebody, then I wait too long, and then it's too weird to like I said hi to you, like you said hi like 2 months ago, and now I'm saying hi. It's weird. Like,
but never mind. I was about to call you. I was gonna say anybody that knows Beth knows to definitely be patient when it comes to communication via.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, okay. Set the expectation for a short, simple conversation, like 10 minutes. Do you see how I moved on? anyway, it says reach out to people that you had connections in the past and share something personal about yourself. I don't know what those last 2 points actually. This is all from the Harvard Business
Oh,
Review.
they're recommending going into the archives and reaching out to somebody from your way back when.
Yeah, way back when.
Actually, I did that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of London, I don't know if you remember Jessica. She was the French girl that was living there.
Yeah.
Super deep voice.
Yes.
Anyway, I was thinking about her because London was very cliche, but it was sort of that coming of age story, like American boy goes to find himself
Yeah.
abroad, and she was part of that process. She was very much wanting to know,
Yeah.
like, tell me about you, like,
Yeah.
what's your opinion, like, you should be yourself, like, go. She was very much making me find my person, and we had so many like long late night talks and stuff. And then out of nowhere on LinkedIn, and I couldn't find her on social media, her email got kicked back to me,
Yeah.
and that was the only information I had on her. And she's not on any social media, and so I didn't think to look at LinkedIn. And like last week, I got a message on LinkedIn from her, and it's just like, oh my god, I was thinking about you recently, and we did a FaceTime, and again, the second time,
Yeah.
tears during COVID was talking to her because I was just like, I was kind of looking for you and you were so important to me. And she's got like kids now and a family. It's crazy.
Oh.
So, I mean, yeah, I guess if it's someone really poignant that
Yeah.
helped form
Just
who you are, it was very, like, it was nice and I guess healthy and helped to catch up with her.
Yeah, there's definitely people that I think we're just spaced out from time, and you don't really think about those kind of strong connections you used to have with them. And I think people just like to hear from other people sometimes. I mean,
Absolutely.
especially in this time, like we were feeling isolated before COVID. So, I mean, as long as you're not like thirsty about it and like dropping lines every there, I think like a quick hi and like, maybe a 10-minute conversation so you could both exit if you don't want to do it. I mean, I think there's a lot of studies about our happiness and just saying hi and talking to a stranger like on a bus. We used to be that kind of stuff that made us happy,
Yeah.
but we can't necessarily do that now. But we do have these large networks of people we could reach out to, and it from different kind of studies, it supposedly makes us a lot happier. And Ricky's story kind of proved that. So
Yeah. Okay, if you have any other kind of tips on how to stay connected with friends or colleagues in the time of Ponderosa, then leave it down in the comments. Let us know what you've been up to. All right, do you want to wrap it up, Beth? Want to go bring us into our little outro moment?
thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, leave a comment, and turn on bell notifications. That will help our show find an audience. New episodes will be uploaded every other Friday at 4 p.m.
Yes, and we are #thirsty4travel over on our Instagram. Head over to @GenXYZen for some special travel content. And be sure to use the hashtag #thirsty4travel when you find out what exactly that means. I think we're going to figure it out ourselves as well. And we're on the road to 100 subscribers. And as a thank you, when we get to 100 subscribers, there will be an extra special gift for one lucky subscriber. If you want to join the club, stay tuned. Which reminds me, I got a Clubhouse invite. I'm in Clubhouse. Woo!
Woo! Me too, bitch. So what is
Okay, well, I mean, do you want to start a chat room or something?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess we're going to.
Okay, so stay tuned for GenXYZen on Clubhouse. We're going to start a room.
Not in the club yet? Well, we can get you in. We're giving away one Clubhouse invite when we get to 100 subscribers. Squeeze that subscribe button to enter and stay tuned for future episodes to learn what else you can do to win.
Yes, go ahead and do that. Also, juice is up as we sign off.
All right.
Where's your juices up? Get Steve
That's
Buscemi
right.
up in here. Clank, clank, clank,
Steve
clank.
Buscemi.
Juices
Clink,
up.
clink,
We'll
clink.
see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.
Woo!
I don't know why I'm doing like a little.
Pause up. Or you're doing that meme.
Cause
'cause I know